Assalamualaikum and welcome to Jan Sewing Solutions. Now I'm going to show you a ready-made dress, and you've heard me many a times talking about the pros and cons of distant buying and when you're out of town shopping and so on. Now this is one of those cases, but there's a couple of things that I want to show you with this dress that I actually quite like. But then we've got the pros and cons going on with this suit. So I'm going to sort of try and highlight those pros and cons so that you're a bit wiser when you're going out of town shopping and what to look out for and what to be aware of. Okay, so these customers of mine have gone to London and purchased this suit. It's a very pretty suit, but they've run out of time and they've assumed that the dress is right, so they've not tried before they've bought. And basically what had happened was, when they've come home and the girl has tried it on, it's way too tight. Now there was no fabric inside to actually widen this, so what we've done is I've inserted a small amount of the cream colour net just on the waist area, just to slightly take it out, and that slight should do the trick. Now the suit itself is very pretty. It's a very heavy suit, velvet bodice with heavy beadwork, and then a very nice thick border in a combination of quite a few different layers. What you have is, what I'm trying to demonstrate is that these kind of borders you can create yourself as long as you're willing to put the effort into it. So what you have is the underlining fabric with quite a large silvery extension, or gold extension. So the underside of this is the gold. That's the lining that's used, and then the green, there's a reflection of the glittery fabric showing through the green. Thick crochet type of lace, Banarsi lace, embroidered lace, and sort of like an organza type of fabric. And then you've got the two inserted. So in total you've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then the 8th is the underlining. So there's a combination of 8 fabrics that have been combined together to make this border. They're all straight cut, and let me assure you that the care of this anarkali frock is approximately, so if you're creating the border, you're creating about a 5-yard border at least. 5 to 6 yards of border is what's used on this, so it's quite an extensive border. Now when you buy these suits, obviously if you're going out of town, like places like London, you can get a good price for these on these suits. But if you're going bargain hunting, then a few things to bear in mind is you got to have time on your hands in order to try these suits before you buy them. Because if you're going and not fully examining the suit and you're walking away just on the look alone, and if you encounter problems, I think it's going to cost you far more than that to get it repaired and to make it to your size. Because once these suits are stitched, to unpick them and to go back into them, these are not suits which carry excess amount of fabric inside. They are quite fitted, and the assumption is that you're going to try this out before you're going to take it away. And one of the problems that we have is, often we have local shops where we overlook the local shops and we go distant shopping in order to get a good bargain, but we actually refuse to look at the benefits that the local shops offer. Because if you have any problems, then you're going to go back to your local shop and return it, or to get it fixed, or at least to go and point out the mistake, and most likely you would get a refund. You know, there's a wonderful saying in our Asian language, and that is that gar ki murgi dal barabar, which basically means that a chicken reared at home, and when you slaughter that and cook that, it just tastes like lentils to you. You don't really have any value for it. So that, in essence, is actually what it's telling you is what we have on our doorstep, we don't value it, and we go out of town to look for something, and then when we come back home we realize the pitfalls of that. So always look to your own territory, within your own boundaries, before you go out of town shopping. Now I have a friend who's coming over from Denmark in a couple of weeks, and she's coming to London actually to an event, and she's only here so for sort of a very short period of time, but she messaged me because she wants to, while she's in London, she wants to do some shopping, and she wanted some advice and some hints and tips. Now, what advice could I offer to someone who's visiting out of town for a very short period of time? So here's my advice. One, I would recommend to plan your journey well in advance, and to know, to try and investigate the places you're going to visit and what it is that you want to buy. So define your list of the do's and don'ts, and then plan. Don't buy spontaneous, because when you buy spontaneous, you tend to make mistakes, and you tend to walk away with things that you later realize that they're no good at all. So prepare yourself that you're going out of town, and also prepare in advance, right, how much time you're going to dedicate to this. And if you're going to do some shopping, if it gives you enough time to come back home and to trial out what you've bought, and you've got enough time to go back to the shop and to perhaps exchange it or return it if you find any faults at home, or if it doesn't fit, then you at least want some kind of a solution to it. Don't plan that last minute, go and buy the shopping and then head off back home, and then only to get back to your own country and realize that, oh, what have I gone and bought? This doesn't fit me, this is not the right size for me, this is not the right color, and realize all the faults. So, like, obviously she's coming, and she's only here for a very short period of time. Now she's here on to an event, so I said work around that event. Try and come 2 days before the event, so that prior to the 2 days before attending the event, you can go and do your shopping. But then even when you return from the event itself, you've got enough time to try out your garment, or to have a really in-depth look at what you've gone and bought, and then to plan to go back to the shop and return it before heading back home. So anyone who's planning a trip, then plan it in such a way that it gives you time to, one, go and look at the shops and investigate, then go back and come back home, make your mind up on what you want, then go back, buy the things, bring them back home, test them out, try them out, whatever, then find the faults that evening and write down what it is that you don't like. And then if you've got an occasion to go to a wedding or an event or whatever it is, attend that. When you return from that, sort of go over in your memory, right, what it is that you've got to go back to the shop and do, and then take it back to the shop and have a word with them that, look, I've come out of the country from abroad, and I'm here to do some shopping. I've bought this, it's not to the right size, and I need it exchanging or whatever. So it sort of gives you a little bit of time to prepare. Anyway, that's my advice. I would advise anyone who's going out of town, like, obviously the customer, if they've saved 10, 15, 20 pound on the actual purchasing of this garment, then that garment had to be unpicked, and it's cost them to actually get that mistake fixed. So is it worthwhile? I wouldn't believe that it is. I would rather buy something like this. If you're willing to spend £100 on something like this, £200 on something like this, I would say spend £50 extra and have the peace of mind. At least you're satisfied with what you've bought. So don't make a hasty decision on purchasing stuff like this. Plan well in advance, and if you're sort of like from Bradford to London, then you may have to plan 2 trips in order to get the right kind of thing, or if you need to go back, and then bear in mind how much it's going to cost you in petrol and in time and in all the effort. And journeys like this, I'll be honest with you, I absolutely love them. I don't like long distance travels, and if it means traveling for a garment, I wouldn't think that's worthwhile at all. For an event, yes, but or to visit or to do something specific, fine. But to go out shopping for clothes, come on, what are clothes? Just go and buy local. And who cares what somebody else thinks? You wear them for yourself, not for anybody else. So anyway, that's my sound advice. Take it, leave it, that's entirely up to you. Do comment if you find the videos useful. There are hundreds and hundreds of videos on the website, on the Jan Sewing Solutions channels. I have multiple channels which teach in many different methods, and I teach different styles on the different channels including an Urdu channel. So if you have not visited the Urdu channel, make sure to visit the Urdu channel and subscribe. And I'm gonna love you and leave you, and inshallah I'll see you again soon.